So if I tell you that you can buy a tech stock showing a sticky business, 74% of recurring revenue with a merger and acquisition strategies that seems to work very well and offering a 7% yield, what would you tell me? Crazy, right? There must be something under the hood. And today, we're going to look at why Sylogist is offering such a high yield with so many promises, but is not delivering yet. Dividend Growth Investors, bonjour. My name is Mike Yehou. I'm the founder of Dividend Stocks Rock, and I also have this YouTube channel to help you invest with more conviction so you can enjoy your retirement. Today, we're looking at one of my holdings that is in my pension plan portfolio that was quite successful a couple of years ago, and right now not so much. I've held on to my shares, but we're going to go through the entire process to see if it's still worth my money now. So let's get started with the favorite graph I have, which is the Dividend Triangle. The Dividend Triangle, quite easy. I look at earnings, revenue, and dividend growth. Hopefully all three are going up, which is definitely not the case for Sylogist. So while revenue has been on a stagnating line for a while, now it's going a little bit higher up because the company has started to acquire new companies. So merger and acquisition strategy has been in motion for about 18 months now. We're going to take a look at that in a moment. But the biggest problem is earnings aren't following, which is quite a source of concern because at the same time, you can see that while the company showed 9 consecutive years of dividend increases, it stopped. So we're stuck with a very high yield, no dividend growth, and declining earnings per share. Doesn't sound like very promising right now. Actually, it's a lot of red flag. And in general, that's almost enough for me to cut the cord. But I kept going a little bit further. So the first things, once you have a look at some metrics, is to understand the company's business model. So what Sylogist does exactly, besides being a software as a service, besides being a tech stock, can you explain that to a 12 years old? Quite easy to understand on this one. First, Sylogist is a software that you purchase and you pay annually. So it's like a recurring billing system, which works very well. And they specialize in a small niche market. So they target services for schools, nonprofit organization, and government. So they have specialized their software that will help those companies organize their data. If you go a little bit further, because organizing data doesn't tell you much, right? But when you look at their product offering, you understand that pretty much everything could be handled by Sylogist software. So we're talking about student identity and profile management, HR, payroll, donors, grants, so you can, and purchases, so you can really organize your school from the new student that is coming in to your employees, to the desk or the computers that you have to buy. Everything is combined into those softwares that Sylogist provide to this niche market. So they are specialized with the specific requirement. You can understand that you don't necessarily need similar software as a company like 3M, for example, that is managing like multiple facilities across the world with tons of products and so on. We're going to aim at something a little bit simpler, but with some special characteristic. So now we understand that Sylogist has niche products, recurring revenues, sticky business, because trust me, school and government, they don't want to change your software every 2 years. But what's the problem with the company was growth. Previous CEO was running this as a mature business, just generating tons of cash and then issuing those juicy dividend increases year after year. New CEO comes in, decides, you know what, that was old management. Now we're going towards merger and acquisition, which was quite exciting. Stock price hit like $18. The market was all about it. The company did 3 mergers and acquisition over the past 18 months or so with a similar profile. So they're looking at companies with large customer base. You know why? Because an OpenText did actually the same thing. With a large customer base, what you can do is cross-selling opportunities. So you already have those customers using a specific software, but maybe you have like other softwares that you can present. So that will increase your revenue instantly. So the second thing is Sylogist wants to buy companies with recurring revenue and high profit margin. So basically they're looking for cash machine, which makes total sense in their business, and which is great is they have super low debt. So now they're just starting to get debts. It was like a cash business with no debt or anything before the new CEO comes in. So if the integration works well and the revenue increase with great margin, eventually you're going to get profit out of it. If this happens, everything's going to come up, but it takes time. And now the big job is to do the integration right and then prove the market that the strategy works. And this is why the company is lagging right now. So those mergers and acquisitions are very exciting, but they also created a lot of problem. As you can see, payout ratios are through the roof. Obviously, if you look at each quarter, you're going to have like special charges and expenses for integration, for the acquisition, amortization, and so on. So basically, it hurts the earnings, but it also hurts the cash flow. So cash payout ratio is at 95%. This is one of the reasons why the company decided not to increase its dividend for the past like 18 months or so. Basically, the shift in the business model from a cash-making machine mature business towards a growth business kind of like changed the entire capital allocation. So now all the capital is going to generate more value for shareholders, but it's going to take longer time, and hopefully it's going to work with merger and acquisition because those includes a lot of risk at the same time. We can see that debt is now going up while cash flow from operation is pretty much stable. So again, we're in that phase where we're spending a lot of money. We had to increase our salaries, keep our talents as well to make sure that those guys are not leaving the business. That went through a lot of hoops, a lot of problems for Sylogist, and this created the reason why the stock price has gone down. Now I'm going to hold on to my shares a little bit longer because I can see the potential. I can see where the company is going. I see the narrative where if you can add a lot of bolt-on acquisition. So basically you're a software company, you're buying other software, you're just merging in everything. So if you're good with the integration, the profit margin will be great. You'll get more new customers and opening cross-selling opportunities. Everything, put that inside. If the story checks out, the market is going to be super interested in moving forwards. In the meantime, I don't think the dividend is at risk now, but obviously I have to check this company every single quarter. So it will be a case by case, quarter by quarter, close follow-up on Sylogist just to make sure that everything goes according to plan. Because if not, I could suffer from a dividend cut. This is why it's also a very small company in my portfolio, around like 1 or 1.5% of my total holdings. So not much invested in that business. This is the type of investment in a small cap like this that you can add like spices in your soup, but don't put too much because it's not going to taste great. Sylogist is this type of company in my portfolio, just a small portion, but if the story checks out, it's going to generate some great returns. At the same time, I don't put my retirement plan at risk by investing in this company. I actually now consider to add some shares to my Smith Maneuver holding just because the yield is high, but I'm going to wait for maybe 1 or 2 quarters just to make sure that I see those payout ratios to be back in line. Because at 95% for the cash payout ratio, I don't feel that comfortable. So in the end, every quarter, I'm going to make sure that mergers and acquisition are still in the pipeline, that new businesses are coming in. I'm going to make sure that debt remains under control. Right now, that's not a problem, but we'll see how it goes. I want to see a sticky business. So if they're losing client, that will be something that I will not like that much. I'm going to be patient with Sylogist, but I'm curious if you are patient or if you're ready to drop the ball on this one. If you bought more shares, let me know in the comments. I'm kind of curious about what you think about Sylogist. Is it a good risk or is it a dividend trap? Let me know. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Send this video if you think that someone is worried about Sylogist among your friends and your family. Maybe this video will help them understand the narrative behind the investment thesis. And until next Thursday for the next video, don't forget to stay invested.